Data, SPSS, Grayton, Amos, etc. And more than that, he has a number of publications in well-reputed journals, Scopus indexed journals, and chapters in edited books. With much pleasure and respect, on behalf of IQAC of College, Research and Consultancy Service of Vimla College, and PG and Department of Economics, I welcome you, sir, and I also welcome all our participants to this program. Have a nice, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Good morning to all, and thank you for the sweet introduction. And I'm going to take you through a process. Actually, I would say this process is about how to do literature review by doing literature review. So we are going to share some knowledge that has been. So how do we go about doing things? So the first slide, I'm just going to introduce me. Here is a small glimpse of what I have been doing. Basically, an engineer and with a little experience after engineering into MBA. And post that, I had inclination towards economics, and that is how I got into MA economics. Then now at the final stage of submitting my thesis at Bharatiya University, retirement planning, finance, economics, statistics, complete mix of it. I will brief you about my work at the later part when we are about to the interest. Going next, yeah,
Sir, your okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your audio had gone
yeah,
off in between. That's why I
thank you. Yeah,
interrupted. I'm
so
sorry, sir. Now it's all right.
I'm going to
Thank
the
you, sir.
next slide. The whole purpose behind doing the research is to basically get what is called the citations. And when you do something called as the Google Scholar, you will be able to see, you can create your profile onto the Google Scholar and you will see how many people have cited you. So the first and foremost thing that you need to look at is people need to read your work, need to acknowledge you for your work and take it forward so that others can follow. So this is where I am. I started at basically in the fag end of 2012. So 5 years into rigorous training across India, basically. And 2017 is when I started, getting the response for my work. And this is where we are standing today. And this is available in Google. So you can just hit for Google Scholar and then search for anyone's name for that matter. But this is what it is. And a few of my work is into economics. I would talk to you about those work, particularly when we talk about how do we catch the gap, how do we develop ideas, and so on and so forth. This is the first slide where I wanted to start up with the idea behind the process. So what is that we wanted to do with respect to the LR or the literature review process? One is, say, we wanted to gain more knowledge, domain knowledge into that particular field, number one. Number two, we wanted to learn about the concepts in the domain. The domain has got many concepts. We will see how these concepts can be developed. I have kept two slides particularly for discussing that. Then we have something called as, are these concepts related or they are not related? And when we talk about relationship between concepts, we talk about uh, uh, testing whether there is an effect or not, which is basically the hypothesis testing procedures that we have. And how do we do this? Basically, there are different methods, there are different designs available to us, which is basically the research design, and there are various techniques available to us. So this is the background. With this background, I wanted to take you to one introduction piece. The first well, I told you that we are going to do literature review by doing literature review. So you got something called as the paradigm funnel. So here it is a funnel wherein we get whenever we start our research, we think that there is no people who have been into this subject. I'm the first one to get into this field. Obviously, I also was thinking something like that. But soon when I started digging more papers, more manuscripts, more research works, it quite became obvious that there are so many people who are into this field, and they have been from say 1920s, 1930s, and we are getting in new. So how do we start thinking about this? Is first, when you start accumulating various research manuscripts or research publication papers, what you will do is basically you have so many methods, you have to group them by methods. That is number one. Number two, there are research work based upon surveys where sample size is talked about, where questionnaire is there and all that stuff. The second method which I have put here is about qualitative study, where you got a focal group interview or industry experts talking to you about policy measures that the industry should take, and so on and so forth. And the last one is about quantitative, basically getting numbers from the secondary source and putting it in it for a regression or to the higher level, to the panel data kind of stuff, using econometrics techniques and all that stuff. So group them according to the methods. That is one. After that, you look at particular field about the practice and the selection of problems and how they have been able to collect those facts, and from the data source, which data source, what, and even when the data is collected, they may not be used in the raw form. They must have been, some what do we basically call is modification or altering the form in which it is available. Say for example, if we are talking about GDP growth rate of a country, we are not going to talk about, say, GDP numbers per se. They are too huge. So usually the technique is available is taking GDP growth rate, number one, or you take the log transformation. So these are basically called the manipulations that are available to the data. Manipulation per se does not mean changing. It actually means altering the data to fit the analysis. That also you should note when you go through your literature. Now I have put A, B, C. First one is about finding out the problems which are nothing but significant problems that are available to us in the society. Number one. Number two, match that problem with respect. There are various theories that are developed. I'm going to show you one slide or one research article where you will be able to note, when you read the manuscript, you will be able to note that the research methodology part talks to you about some eminent theories that the author tries to put across. Keep a note or at least a notebook of recordings of the theories and the constructs that have been used in the theory, the variables used. Then third one is articulation of theory. How well the theory gels with your thought, your idea. That you need to look. Then coming back, there are two things which I put at the bottom of this particular slide. That is the key variables of the theory. Number one, which is basically called constructs in case of a survey method. And every theory comes with an assumption. So if you can test, basically assumptions are called boundary conditions under which the theory works. Every theory has got an assumption. Look back at relaxing some of the assumptions and test whether it is effective still or not. And in this point, I wanted to tell you, theories have actually come at say 1930, 1950, and we have almost crossed say 3-4 decades of the theory. But is the theory still valid? So you can even check the validity of the theory. So this research paper by Perry et al. Will give you how do we go about narrowing down our ideas to get closer to what is there in your mind to go on or get started with your research work. I'm going to the next slide. In case there are some doubts, you can just ping it on the chat. So I may take a break after say 25-30 minutes. We will discuss that doubts off and then come back to the slide again. I'm going to the next slide now. The first one, an example of an inquiry. Means inquiry here means I'm getting to start to understanding something. And here I have put 3 circles, basically Venn diagram. Everyone is an expert in it, and qualitative study, asking for members of the focal group interviews or an expert opinion. The second one is the secondary study, where it is quantitative, picking up numbers and using those numbers to see whether X is related to Y and some control variables in the equation. And the third one is a survey, which is nothing but the primary study. Now, if you see this Venn diagram, the whole topic tries to answer or try to tell you that this is basically something called as mixed methods, where you are mixing two or three methodology per se, qualitative, quantitative, and uh, other method to integrate to get an objective answer to the question that you have got in research. Say, for example, I have put here in the next slide quality of higher education in India. And the question is about, are the graduates coming out of uh, uh, higher education employable? The question is about employment. And I talk this with HR recruiters or consultants, which is available to you as qualitative study. I discuss with them. I take them a feedback from them through interviews, through unstructured questions, open-ended questions to take their opinions. Why aren't the students employable? That is the question. And next, I come back and ask the same with the placement cell of few colleges tied up with my research. And the third is I am going to ask a survey to the students whom are graduating out about why do they think that they are not employable, what they studied and what the industry needs. There is a gap. Now, obviously, all these three will give you three different answers. They will not match. But we are going to look at that part of A intersection B intersection C, which is the solution to the question of why aren't the students employed. So you need to think which part you wanted to start up and which is closer to your ideas, and fill that circle with the number of literatures that you have with you, put them into this. I'm going to do a step-by-step process of this in the next slides. Going to the next slide, what is the key to the entire process? One is we need to understand the whole research manuscripts. They are basically jargons. Obviously, it will be jargons to a person who is starting now. But as you get used to more and more reading, it becomes very easy. One simple thing or technique is to read one manuscript in your area a day. So if your field of work is into foreign exchange, read one manuscript a day. But as you read, my advice to you is note down key things that are available to you in that paper. Which key things, how to record it, I'm going to talk to you now. So this is one. How do you interpret what they have done? Number one. Number two, you cannot just tell that Tilak et al. In the year so and so did this, data was gathered from this to this, and they have used regression method and they observed this was significant in influencing that. That is not the story that people are looking at the research desk or at the review process. They wanted to try to understand, have you mixed and matched? That is basically the process of synthesizing similar research work and taking the common findings among all those people. So that is the point which I have given here. Group studies of similar tribes. It may be depending upon methodology, which we just talked about, or similar data types, or similar research designs. So you can group them up and then try to find out research relating to the same field. Last one, which is paraphrasing studies. You are going to write review of literature in your research papers or research manuscripts or thesis. So here what you are supposed to do, one single paragraph will have at least 4 or 5 authors who have contributed to the paradigm, the way that research knowledge has traveled. Some person has done some work in 1890, some person at 1980, some person at 2011, some person at 2017. So how that idea has been transferred, that you will be able to know when you are understanding the key work that has happened in that area. That is what I meant here by seminal work. So the first question here that I wanted to post you, obviously I will not wait for your response. I'm going to give you the answer too. But how do you spot seminal work? What is the key to spotting seminal work? So if you have gathered say 30, 35 or 40 manuscripts are in your area, particularly be careful about your keywords that you are using for search, because Google will let you to some other place as well, which is unwanted and which is going to take a lot of your time. So search proper keywords. After downloading, go directly to the bibliography, and you will note that the authors who have been used in that particular study are in an alphabetical order. And you can compare 2, 3 papers where those authors are matching. Same author, same year, same paper, but repeated in 2 or 3 research. Those are the main or minimum required papers that you have to consider, because that is how you have traveled, or that is how your research idea has traveled in the past, and from there you are going to take it forward. It is similar to traveling from say Bangalore to Delhi, and suppose it is not directly Delhi, it is for Chandigarh or Chhattisgarh or Patiala or some other place. So some travel has to be in air, some travel has to be in train, some in the local buses. So how do you plan it? That is what the seminal works will talk to you about, how you travel with your knowledge of the research in your area. Going to the next, this is about reporting of your literature. I have mentioned here in simple terms how you can report it in Excel. You have author's name in the first column, though this is just going to give you a simple idea, but I'm going to tell you how you can still, kind of fine tune this background. You need to maintain this in Excel, number one. Number two, you have authors here, the year in which it was published, the title of the paper, the journal name, the page number, the objectives, the method of study, what was the findings. This is the minimum required, but I'm going to tell you a few more columns which will enrich your understanding to go to the next level. So as you note this, you will know that some people who have followed say descriptive methods, some people who have followed some kind of hypothesis, what was their hypothesis, what was their objective, and how they have put it across. Now this is the basic template for you to record. If you have 60-70 papers, obviously yes, the Excel is going to become bigger. So what you can do is year wise you can give a sheet coding, that is possible. And once you record this, then next what you do is in this findings and conclusion, next column you're going to draw some more columns, and this is what is the key. The first one is called what were the variables in the study. As you read a manuscript, I told you one manuscript a day. 1 month, 2 months is enough for you to dig deeper into your literature review. You need to highlight the variables and pick those variables which are close to your study. Number one. Number two, note the sample size. If it was a survey method, you need to note the sample size. And if it was a focus group, then who were the group members, how they were contacted, what was asked to them, all that you need to note. And the most important thing, the theory that was used in that study, because certain variables can be used in some common theories, but not every theory. So you need to look at the theory. Next, you're going to talk about one part which is telling you directions in the future. That is nothing but scope for further study. So you need to be really choosy about what manuscripts you are reading. Just Googling and typing your keyword and getting that research paper is not going to add value. Actually, it will demotivate you because you are going to go some other place rather than your intended purpose. So you need to be choosy. Google keywords with citations, at least one filter is applied there when you do that kind of a process. Then go to bibliographic search, find common papers, identify seminal work, start reading that seminal work. And every time you read some manuscript, it is not whether it is seminal or not, you need to note these things in the research manuscript itself by using highlighter or by using pencils. And more importantly, when you read them, there is something which is running in your mind. You need to note it down then and there in pencil, because the moment you drop it, you're going to do your literature review one more time. Remember this, because I have gone through this and a lot of time is consumed in the process. So I would suggest you need to have a highlighter, you need to have a pencil, highlighter to highlight variables, the theory used, the scope for further study, and a pencil to note down what ideas are coming to you when you read those papers. Now, one thumb rule or one easy way to get into the body of knowledge is you need to search for systematic literature review papers in your area, in your domain. And once you get it, you get everything under one single radar. It doesn't mean that it has covered everything. It actually means it has at least covered 60% in one shot. So you just have to do that incremental search. So the next type of work that is available to you is something called as meta-analysis, which tells you only the effect size, when it was tested, what was the sample size, and increasing more samples would lead lesser to the contribution of the factors or variables. So it just talks to you about effect size, particularly more on the variables part used in that particular study. I'm just taking a break here. In case you have something to ask, you can ask me now.
Okay, dear participants, now you can type your queries in the chat box. Chat box is open for discussion. Any queries, you can put it over the chat box.
I continuously, so I'm just trying to take a small break. So in case you have traveled this part, then probably you will have some thoughts. The point you just
Hello?
mentioned, can you elaborate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, madam.
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay, so Dr. Suman Deepak is asking about the point you just mentioned. Can you elaborate? It is about identifying seminal work. And say, for example, I have put it into the slide as we go further, but along with it, I just wanted to take your thoughts so that I can explain you clearly how it can be done. Can we get the template of literature review? Yeah, I mean, I can share it with you, but you can also make it along ways, nothing wrong in it. Then how do we decide that particular literature is enough for the research work? Yeah, Pushpendra Singh, I will answer your question. That is the topic which is more important for us to know when the entire process is over or not. Then while quoting articles in literature review, it will come under plagiarism. That is the point which I wanted to talk to you about paraphrasing. So a quick 5, 6 or 10 minutes video on YouTube, how to paraphrase, you will get it. But nevertheless, I am also going to explain you how it can be done. Give me some time, I will explain it to you. Yeah, so now I'm just getting started with my slide. And first,
There are a few more questions, sir.
no problem. And as we interact, if there are questions, you can post it onto the chat, and I can take it whenever I'm just taking a break. Because leaving it to the end in case time is not sufficient, then we will be left out without unanswering. So there's a much better way to do that. And I'm taking you to one small example of the first question. That is elaborating what I was trying to tell. I was trying to tell you to note seminal work. So in that process, what I did was I wanted to find out. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I wanted to have a retirement planning scale. And when I started hunting Google for retirement planning scale, what you will observe is something like this. You can go back to Google. I hope you are able to see my screen. Anyone? Are you able to see my screen?
So it's not.
Yeah, just a minute.
Second, sir.
Yeah. Can you now?
Yeah, it's coming, sir. Yes, it's visible, sir.
It is
Yes,
Google,
sir.
right? Okay. Here
Yeah, it's
I'm
Google, sir.
typing to you about retirement planning scale because I need to measure it. I need to measure about how people are trying to think about what people are thinking about retirement. And you will see authors here. What I meant to tell you is take that paper which is having citations. And this is one of the paper which I wanted to interact with you to understand how you can get started with your only when it is cited. Otherwise, don't touch that paper. It is going to waste your time. So only where it is cited by. So you need to hit on that particular PDF. Actually, certain PDFs are available to you free. And this is the paper that I was talking to you, the process of retirement planning scale, how they developed the scale and what is the scale. And when you do this paper or this manuscript, at the end, you will see what were the questions asked and how that questions was graded, as in Likert scale was used or what was used, that the author will give you. But the more important part is for doing this paper, number one, the author has used some bibliographic, uh, what is that? What authors he has used for study. But going forward, using this study, there have been work. That is something more important, which is this retirement scale was cited by so many people. So you will also get to know how forward looking is your literature review, how that literature has traveled after this author's contribution to the work. I hope it is understandable. Now I wanted to take you to the next slide, and I will come back to this because I have processed or kept the slides step by step so that as we travel, we can take it up and understand it in a much better way. And one of the paper which you can see here, I just noted it, so I thought I can tell you now only systematic review of the antecedents of retirement planning. So you have got something called as antecedents and consequences of certain event, certain topic. You need to pick up. I am talking to you about the literature review, systematic literature review paper, and it will give you the entire picture of what has happened in retirement planning from beginning till today. So that is something which you need to have so that you can know which way you can travel. Number one. Number two, I'm taking you to the slide now to continue with our presentation. I hope the slide is visible now.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yeah. So excuse me. This is where we stopped some time back about key columns in the literature. You need to add these columns along with this Excel sheet along with here. And what you can know is not only that you will be able to identify the variables, the theory that you can incorporate into your study, you will also know which journal you should send your paper to. If you are asking me a question as to how we can identify journals, some journals are charging me money, some journals are telling taking 18 months time, all that is fine, but is your paper placed so that other people can take it from there and start citing your work? Because the entire work in research depends upon citations. And if no one has cited you, that means you have not got the credit of your hard work. So this noting of journal names will give you that information also. That is what I meant to tell. I'm going to the next slide. This is where we stopped about systematic. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to show you one paper, the Matthew Carey paper, which was on retirement planning. I will share that because that has been my work. I will share that with you. more is there to come. Now I talk to you about, say, the spotting seminal work. So you are going to identify. How are you going to identify? Taking 3-4 manuscripts at a shot and highlighting the authors which have been repeated in one paper, second paper, third paper, and that paper stands more weightage in your research because the papers that you have searched with your keywords, I'm repeating again, you have set some keywords and you have searched Google or some other database for your research work. After taking that, what you have done, you have directly gone to the bibliography, searched for common authors and highlighted them. And if suppose one author gets repeated in 12 papers, 12 manuscripts, and second author gets highlighted in 8 manuscripts, third author gets highlighted in 3 papers, that means you need to choose which of those is key to you and give more importance to those papers and what you are going to search. That is the first point that I have given here. What is the time frame you are looking at? Because you need to explain in the literature review process your year was from when to when. You started hunting database for research publications from either year 2000 to 2019. That has to be put. And what were the keywords that you used for the search? And collect all the articles, put it into a software which is called Mendeley. You need to learn it because that will help you use that referencing easily. Then the point which I talked to you, scan bibliography for manuscripts, common manuscripts, then filter repeated authors data, use the key manuscripts as a core study to build your story. And at this I'm going to the next slide, but the end of this slide, I'm going to tell you two things that are more important. One, what is your story? What is that you want to highlight? Number two, how do you relate your story to the stories that have happened by different research people? Give more interest to the story, then automatically things will start coming up, variables will start cropping up, your search will get much more refined. But if you're not having story, then the problem is like you need to start reading more editorials, newspaper, hunting more problems and all that stuff. I will talk to you about identifying problems also. We are going to the next slide now. Now, the first one, which I wanted to explain you, is about what problems, how do we identify them? So here we have got a beautiful paper by Summers, which is the guidelines for conducting research. And particularly this is in marketing. Doesn't matter, it just talks to you about what are all the tips that we can use. One is you can test untested path among the variables, which has not been done in the literature. Next, you can have a mediator or a moderator into your study and see whether there is any difference or not. Two. And the third one, it talks to you about if there is a scale which is given to you for measurement, can you check the psychometric properties and try to extend it? And this actually paper talks to you about something called as spotting the gaps or the problems between the research works. Using that, what you can do is you can develop research questions which will help you to develop a new theory. And in this, you will get this Summers paper in the internet. If not, I will share all the papers that I have used for this slide along with the PPT, along with the Excel to the coordinator, and they can share it with you after the presentation. So the first one, when I'm talking to you about problems, two things are there which you need to be really clear about when you're starting. First one, are you testing a theory or are you developing a theory? Both are different. Both are actually North Pole and South Pole, and they will lead you to different places altogether. So one, if you're developing theory, then you need to contribute something more, develop a new scale, add it to the findings, and then proceed. If you're testing theory, then you at least should identify what theories have happened in the past and what are their assumptions and whether it is applicable today or not. So in the process of problem identification, This is not problem identification in research. This is problem identification in your research idea. Whether your research idea is a theory testing or a theory development. That is the question. Think about it, and we will come back to discuss as we enter the doubts session. Now, this is what I have put here, which I talk to you now. Theory building versus theory testing. What is your study? What your study belongs to? Whether you are going to test existing theory or whether you are going to check theory A and theory B, whether the constructs in theory A and theory B has got something in common or they are different. If they are different, are there any interlinkages between them? Then I have put the same point again. Test relationship with mediators and moderators. Different things mean different to different people, different age groups, male, female category. So you can add up mediators and moderators in the theory that is available. Then unexplored relationship. I told you that when you note down the theories used in your research, there are different constructs. One construct in a particular theory may not be related to another construct in another theory. So can you try to integrate those theories and get in a new opinion or a new phenomenon? That is the word, phenomenon, that can exist between them. And if what you're thinking is not available, your thought is completely new, then the question is, can you identify similar scales that were used in the prior studies? Use or convert that scale to test what is there in your idea and come up with new scales. So this concept was given in a manuscript or the research paper by Colquitt et al. And it is about trends in theory building and theory testing. The link is given to you at the bottom of the slide. So I'm going further. So what I have to do if I'm reading a paper, one simple paper and one pen, and you have to critique what you're reading. Critique doesn't mean you disagree with everything the author says. Critique actually means trying to test the questions which are put across. The 5 broad questions, but the next slide I've given you 10 points which you can look at. These 5. Is the problem formulated properly? Is there something missing? Does the author tell or highlight what is the issue? And is the issue highlighted? Meaning the problem is not problem by itself. It was created because of something else. So what is that? Is there a chain? This chain actually comes to you in the introduction part of the paper, which is just one step, the first step before literature review. Then are the boundaries intact, or generalizability is the context in which we are talking about the scope of the research. Is it applicable to only Americans? Is it applicable only to Indians? Or is it applicable? How we can generalize? That is the question. Then you have got what significance of the study brings, how differently you are able to tell, how different is your story. Otherwise, people will ask you one simple question: so what? You have done so much of research, you have put in so much of variables, you are telling it is significant. The question is very simple: so what? The prior peoples have already done it. So how is your work different from the others? You need to think about that. And the background or the premise of the story. So I hope the sentence is self-explanatory. The last one is, there is some knowledge that the author brings to you as you read. You need to note them in the paper. For each manuscript, at least staple one white sheet and record this so that it can be used when you start writing your thesis work or the manuscript or the research that you are into. So this is about what do you do when you're reading a literature? At least these 5 points. But next slide, I've got something more to you. See here, it is about how do you critique a manuscript? You need to write. So how do you do that? Is something like this. Actually, by doing all these things, you will become more refined in the way you are thinking about your topic. But still, we have to travel through the same path. So it's better we critique and learn. So what is the aim of the research? The big picture. What is the practical question that is posed to the society at large? And is it getting highlighted by the research questions? or you must have got something called as the objective, aim of the research and the objective. Is there a connect, and does it answer a big problem? That is the question. The second point, is the research question important? If I'm telling I wanted to study so and so, is there someone who will come and even bother about reading my paper? Actually, it is not only that he should read, he should take content from my paper and he should give citation. Very often, the issue came up with plagiarism in LR. Literature review is the only part where you have maximum plagiarism because you are taking work from others. Balance everything is your own thoughts and your own sentences. So that question was really apt as to should I be bothered about plagiarism? I will answer you that question in some time now. I'm going to the third question. What do we already know about the research question? And did the past people answer this? If they have not answered, then I can still be on my way. That is the third one. Fourth one, what is the author's approach towards the research question? What are the theoretical foundations? Here again, we are trying to talk about theories. Fifth point, how is the approach different from what we already know? Why should anyone care about taking this approach to the question? So this is linking to the first question again. At least you need to have, there are total 10 questions in the critique the manuscript slide, and at least 3-4 points from each manuscript, and then you can take it forward to combine them. You will make much meaningful sense out of the whole work. I'm in the next slide, and the point number 6, empirical studies. Who were the participants? Who was the question asked? Many cases, the test was done using students, and it doesn't apply to people who are working, who are at old age and all that stuff. In my retirement kind of planning, people have been talking about in 12th standard whether they studied economics or not. Now, and the study, many research have been talking about 12th standard students and at retirement. Actually, retirement is something which you should focus when the person is working. So is there work which has happened into the working population? That is something which you need to highlight as a gap or as a problem as to when they are earning. Is it applicable? So I'm continuing with the sixth one. What method was used? Are the sample and the method appropriate? And the study hypothesis makes sense of what they are trying to tell? That is point number 6. Coming to 7, findings and the aim of the study. The paper develops, the manuscript tells that this is what we wanted to do, but does the finding answer those questions? How reliable it is? That is the point. And point number 8, is it applicable to everyone? And what are the boundary conditions? Boundary conditions as in the limitations, the scope. Can we extend it? For whom does it apply and how does it apply? That is the point number 8. Then what conclusions did the author draw? Whether it is only theory or whether it is applicable practically. And if it is applicable practical, what are the things that are not working and what are the things that are working? That is what will tell you what contribution do you bring to the table for the future researchers to take from your manuscript. Next, what do you think of the research? What do you see the strength and weakness of the paper? Something was done good, something was done bad. I'm going to talk to you about the strengths of the paper, how beautifully it is written, how the problem is centric to the conversation and all that stuff. So this critique the manuscript 10 points or the earlier 5. You can consider it in total 15 points. If you can just write 3 to 4 points of each manuscript about this topic, then you can collate them together and then you can develop some pain points which the prior research have not addressed. I'm going to the next slide. So I talked to you about Google searching manuscript, but Google Scholar definitely gives you a wide range when you do not have subscription base. You need to subscribe for research publications. Your library should have it, your institute should be subscribing to them. But if you do not have, then the options that you have got is like you can attend one of the workshop or conference in that particular place. You can go pick up the user ID and password and download those papers and manuscripts. and few places where you will get beautiful articles, particularly which can help you thinking about research writing. Then you need to read only papers where the writing is good, because you cannot send your articles only to Indian people, peer reviewed people, UGC referred publications and all. You need to have ABDC rankings, Scopus, Springer, all that. They will actually see the language that you are using when you're writing. And this actually will help you think about uh, logically placing sentences one after other, how do you use that sentences, and how to present. I have put Emerald in the last. Even if you have read one Emerald paper, it will tell you clearly the paper starting itself. What is the objective? What is the scope? What is the background? What was the sample research design? In separate paragraphs. There'll be no abstract at the starting. Directly, it will talk to you about only that. If time permits, at the end, I will show you those papers. Probably people who are new, they will know it. People who have already traveled half, they know what Emerald means. So these are some of the good literatures, which good publications, publishers from whom you can take the papers or the manuscripts for your review. Going further, the first point is about attaching your story, your research idea to a theory. So the theory, actually, I have given here two authors paper. You should read them, because see, at the end, what is literature? You are going to read and read. So nothing wrong in taking time and reading what is literature. That is what I started with telling you. We are going to do literature review by doing literature review. So how to do a literature review? First one, you are having a manuscript by Grant in 2014. It is about integrating theoretical framework in your study. So what is the theoretical framework? You are going to construct a house, and you at least need a blueprint for constructing the house. That's what Grant talks to you in the paper, in the manuscript. The blueprint of a house, you can use it to identify the problems that the society is facing. And Grant actually talks to you about something called as the basic understanding of the philosophy, epistemology, and the methodology to be followed. Very nice article, and you need to minimum read this to have much more clarity. You read it and come back and then start your literature. You will at least have the foundation ready. That is what I can tell you if you're getting through Grant and Oslano paper. And the second one is by Eisenhardt. It's a little into mathematical stuff. It is talking to you about conceptual framework. Whenever we are talking about literature review, there are two steps. One, the theoretical framework. Are you able to attach a theory to your study? Second, is the conceptual framework ready? And what do I mean by conceptual framework? I'm going to talk to you about that now. And the first one is about attaching a theory to the work. That is nothing but testing old theories. The second one is, if it is an existing theory and something has caused a change in the way we behave, in the way we act, what is that change? And by doing that, you can actually modify or bring about additions to the old theory. That is actually, that will lead you to a higher contribution in the study that you are doing. I'm proceeding to the next one to explain you about the conceptual framework. A well-reviewed literature lays the foundation for concepts. Concepts as in blocks, building blocks of the house or the foundations. These concepts are nothing but conjectures, otherwise called prepositions. Whenever you come across things like prepositions, preposition is not hypothesis. Preposition is concepts which can be tested, but they cannot be tested directly. Say, for example, psychological foundations for retirement planning. So what is psychological factors? What do I think in my brain? I cannot measure, so I need to break them into variables. So these prepositions are broken into something called as variables. That is nothing but the map of the concepts and their linkage. Psychological relates to retirement planning. So retirement planning is measured by some variables. Psychological is measured by different variables. Name those variables, identify those seminal work where it has been talked about, pick the variables from there and test it. Number one. Number two, the question is, if I'm testing what is already there, then will I not be questioned? Is what is that you are bringing on the table? That is when you add a mediator or a moderator to your study to show that your work has been a little more compared to what and it is not existing in the prior literature. Coming back, that concept is broken into variables which can be measured, and those measured variables can be tested for hypothesis. So I'm taking a break here. So in case till now you have something, you can ask me. I have put in the last slide. The essence of literature review is to come to hypothesis. We are going to do some examples depending upon the time that is available to us at the end of the discussion. I will show you how good literature talks to you about all these topics one by one, putting it beautifully in a logical order and taking you to the conceptual framework. I'm stopping my slide here, and you can post the questions uh, in the chat.
So there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah, I'm just going through.
Can we write a review part in this format itself in our thesis?
I'm just looking at. Can you explain it taking an example? I'm going to talk to you about examples now after this break. One thing is I want to monitor and keep a tab on the time also, and the second thing is like, how do we get started at least from now doing getting. Can we write our review part in this format itself for our thesis? If you're talking about your PhD thesis, then the university must have given you guidelines. Many of the universities still follow the same old pattern of author, year, what was studied, what was the data from which year to which year, what method was used, and the old method. But when you go for publications, particularly the higher levels of Springer or ABDC ranking, they will definitely ask you a completely different literature, and they will specify you in the guidelines to submissions part, which will be available to you in the publishers portal. I think I answered your question. In case anyone else who is having any other question, you can post it on the chat. One more minute and then we get started. How to construct a theoretical frame regarding my topic. What are the steps to consider? I'm coming back. Theoretical framework. Okay. Ways to do LR. That is what I'm going to talk to you. Probably you will get an answer there. Savita is the person. You will get an answer. Give me some time. Okay, I think we are good to go after the break. Anyone else who is having doubt after Savita? It's 10:59. Last question. You can post it onto the chat and I'll come back. First thing about regarding your topic, how to construct a theoretical framework. Theoretical framework cannot be constructed. What can be constructed is the concept. So I'm going to talk to you about how do you put things from a lot of manuscripts that you have downloaded, or rather you have gone through, how ideas can be put in combination to one another. I'm taking you to the slide, and yeah, back again. Is it visible to all, the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, thank you. I got your input. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just starting in a while. Just give me a minute. Yeah, conceptual framework is where we stopped, and I'm beginning from here. How do we do the LR? That is the question. So I'm getting to start now the process. So do not worry, we are going to address all these things one by one. So first point that we have in the approaches to literature review, whether it is inductive or a deductive approach. What do you mean by inductive? Inductive means you are observing something, you are able to get a grasp of the pattern, then you are developing a hypothesis, and that is leading to a new theory. That is your inductive method. When we talk about deductive, you already have the theory, and in the theory there is already a hypothesis which has been stated that this links to that. Then you are observing for those variables, then you are confirming whether it is working or it is not working. So these two is one. The second one, this is about inductive and deductive. You need to choose only one. Both are not possible. Let me be clear in that. Both are not possible. You need to choose only one. That is what I talked to you some time back about theory testing and theory development. Both are different. The second one is about going broader into your domain or going deeper into your domain. Both are different. Going broader means what? You take starting point as many as research articles you get and see how it has been traveled. What has been the paradigm shift in the way the knowledge has traveled in the past. And second is take only last 10 years, 20 years, because macroeconomic policies today does not actually is the same what was there earlier. Say, for example, if you're talking about demonetization, then only 2 times, 3 times we had that in the past. So you just have to see one-time policies and the effect of that. So you cannot go broader in that case. It doesn't make sense. And even if you want to go broader, you need to compare the size of Indian economy and any other economy that is similar to India and compare only those two. You cannot take any other demonetization, any other country. You cannot even if you come back and tell that this is what I have observed in US it is so, in India it is so. They will first ask you the premise of your work. Why? What lays the foundation for you to compare you with some other country who is not similar to you? So going deeper actually means going into the root cause of the issue and going more narrower into a topic. Now you have to choose between these two. That basically depends upon what is your topic again. Coming back, putting them together in groups. The question that was asked about how do I put theories? You actually have to put theories in Excel. After putting theories in Excel, look at theories which match your idea, catch those theories, pick up from there. The first method, you can use a concept map. The second method, you can do a topic mapping. And the third method is called the mind mapping. According to me, I just use the first one. And beyond that, I will tell you how I have traveled my research journey. The second and third is open to you, which is fast. And nowadays, technology offers you to do everything in a short span of time. That also I'll brief you at the end. So the first one is about concept map. Here, I hope you are able to see the diagram, a simple diagram so that everyone understands. You have GDP and you have got different components of GDP: consumption, investment, export, import, and government spending. Basically, expenditure method of calculation of GDP. Now, you want to study government spending in relation to GDP, and when it during periods of crisis you want to test it, then you have only two of them, and this is basically concept. Only one and two. That's all. You don't consider any of these things. And if you're talking about investment, then is it investment by government? Is it investment by public? Then you want to see 1, 2, and 3. That depends upon what other people in your area have done and try to group them together. Now, consumption. I want to highlight something here when it comes to consumption. India is predominantly a consumption oriented economy. So whatsoever happens, even in subprime crisis 2008, the GDP has not gone below zero. You can check back that from the World Bank estimates. So the consumption level, self-sustained consumption of India and taking the growth to say 5 trillion, which was the target set in another 5 years time. So all that you can study, link the topic to what is available to you and what is the objective set at a higher policy level making process. And this consumption basically depends upon price level. Now price level depends upon how many people are employed and what is the money flow available. Then you actually measure them using consumer price index and which part of this. So you can put your ideas, the theory matching the ideas, the constructs in that theory, put them into blocks and try to link them with arrow marks. So that will tell you the linkage. Now, one messy linkage I have got here. I hope you are able to see the screen. Anyone can confirm?
Yes, sir. We can
So
see your screen.
thank you for that confirmation. So this is something how a concept map looks like. And now, if you want to do a work, this is based upon the past literature, and the top one which is missing is economics. So do not worry about it. It's about economics, economic models. Economics is about study of scarcity. It's about study of demand and supply. So now you tell me which part you want to study. All these are much explored, and I could see only this part which is less explored. So forms of capital, sourcing of capital, efficient use of capital, what you can say, efficiency of a capital, all that you can study, and still it is just an indicative of how do you develop your concept. How do you go to narrow down? If you have can put this in a big A3 size sheet, obviously one sheet is very less for you to put it, but you can add up more papers also. But if you can put it, you actually have a strong command of what you are trying to do. And you can actually, you will not get one gap, you will get so many gaps. And if you're hunting for a systematic review paper and you're not getting one, then you can write one in your area or in your domain. And usually systematic review papers are the one which has the highest citations, SLR and meta-analysis papers. So you can contribute one in your field. So this is the first example of doing a concept map. I'm going to the next slide, second method. Topic map. Now, if you are able to see the ovals here, these are the topics, and one topic is related to second, but this topic is not related to this. That means what? Direct relationship is not there. Indirect relationship is there. That is the associations of the topics. And these topics or these associations happen only when there are some, what I told you just before, the antecedents that cause that particular event to happen, and when does it occur. So this is called the topic map of associations and occurrences. This is the second method, and I do have a second messy example for this. You are able to see here the diagram which talks to you about victims who suffered because of an earthquake, and the victims were having some rescue teams helping the victims, some Red Cross Society people helping them by supplying food and tents, which was actually obtained from relief supplies. The story keeps on going. How big it can go depends upon how better you can, get deeper into your topic. So you can do this. This is the second method. Third method is called mind mapping. So you can just put the concepts, the bigger the different colors, the size of the letters, all this, which can be done to understand the overall picture of your research work. And with mind mapping, I have got one example to talk to you about this work on economics, which talks to you about utility theory, which talks to you about services and products, which talks to you about the factors of production, which talks to you about the handling of efficient frontier or efficiency of operations, which talks to you about flow of money, which talks to you about decision making. So you can just group them according to the topic in different baskets. And mind maps, actually there are newly available softwares which I got learning from others of recent, but I have not used mind maps. So you can use the software, feed in your literature to them, and they can give you the map straight away. It can happen fast, but only thing is your literature should be a good cited one. I gave you the list just some time back. You can go back and look at those lists. Now, what you can do with the mind map is code related studies, color code important studies, highlight the colors which are really worth a problem, and you can do a conceptual research, empirical research, qualitative. You can group them separate, like how they have put in here, separate baskets. Note lesser researched areas where you can contribute and you can get one citation for your work, and start with a small work in research areas. Once you complete a research, I would suggest you can go out and present it to an audience. You get more criticisms. That is where you will stand valid, that you have got valid inputs for your work. It doesn't mean that you presented and you did not get any feedback and everyone said beautiful, good, very good work. That doesn't help you improve yourself. The more you get criticized, the more you get the scope to learn, and the more questions already been asked into your study, and you can keep on developing yourself based upon that. So this was the story about mind maps. Now coming back to the hot questions of the literature review process. And the first question, how many articles should I include? Whether it is 200, 300, 400, or just 100? And is there an end to the search process? Or I have to still keep on collecting manuscripts? And is there a logical end? And is there only one research gap or is there many? And the last question is, what your paper or manuscripts add as an contribution to the body of knowledge? So the answer to this is how better you are able to mark your seminal work, how beautifully you have addressed or assimilated the works of others, particularly the seminal work, and understand how they have been traveling after 2019, after 2020. That is how you can look at the current article and how many people have cited them. You need to have a read on them. Now, the next slide, identifying a gap. A quick tip, that is what I wanted to offer you. You need to look only at the implications part of the study. Look for scope for further research where they have given you a tip that till now I have been able to explore so many things, but in future this can be done. Next, a longitudinal study. That means you measure something in 2020, but you go and measure the next construct in the next year and try to find out the linkage of this one on the other one. Just like how you see about last year's ABI and this year's GDP, and you try to do some kind of a regression equation to see the effect. Now, the next one is putting mixed method, putting all together and looking out for the common answer to the solution, and looking out for problems. And that is what was the slide which I put on problematization or gap spotting. So I would stop here, and I want to talk to you about my experiences from here. And in case you have any questions, I'll take it now. We are left out with only 2 slides going forward. 2 to 3 slides, that's it. So you can ask me anything that you wanted, because I shared with you the anyone who has got the question. You can post.
Participants, yeah, you can post the questions in the chat box right now. Those of you who have questions can post it in the chat box right now.
Savita, I think I had your question of how do you construct how do you construct
So
a
there's a
theory?
question in the chat box.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm reading it, madam.
Yes.
Is the literature review process the same for qualitative and quantitative? Literature review process is the same, but how do you group them? That matters. Who were the respondents? How did you conduct your meeting? Whether it was a grounded theory research or phenomenology, all that. I'm going to talk to you about some background on that topic as well now. So the process is same. process is same, and you need to get back to the same old noting down with Excel and then highlighting them. All that remains same. Now, I'm getting started with the next topic because we can, yeah, as well take the questions at the end. Can we look at the latest way of reviewing an article or study? Latest way as in Preeta, I did not get your question properly. You can elaborate it. Uh, can we have a look at the latest way of reviewing? No, I didn't get your question yet, but you can ping me back or at least unmute and then we can have a chat at the end of the session. So I'm taking you back to the presentation of what I have traveled, and if you can, yeah, I hope you are able to see the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you read what is there on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you read what is there on the screen?
The $400 trillion pension time bomb.
Beautiful. So this is something interested me when I was reading through papers, manuscripts, editorial part of the newspapers, trying to talk that all these days government has been promising that it will pay, but the government does not have the money to pay. So what happens is government will start printing more money and it will add more to government's deficit. I hope these economic terms are a little easy for you guys to understand. But as you see this, this is a big article, but then I want to highlight you about where are we with respect to the population, with respect to the gap. And you have got many videos down. Yeah, this was the point. This was the graph which I wanted to talk to you. 2015, the gap was the dark blue one down, and 2015 the gap is going to be the light blue one. I hope the color difference is there. I'm just picking it from the internet. So if you can see, China is already having 11 percentage or 11% of GDP. You can understand it that way. But 2015 it will have 119. If you see India, the gap is now only at 3, but from 3 we are going to go to 85. So the percentage increase with respect to India is going to be the highest. And how are we going to address this? That was the question in my mind when I started this entire journey of my process. Now I'm just closing this down. This is the problem, identification of a problem. Don't think that problem should come from the research paper only. Problem can come from anywhere. And the easiest way of spotting a problem is the newspapers and the editorial part, because they give you problems. They don't give you problems alone. They give you 2, 3 solutions how it can be solved. And the editorial part actually discusses something more. So that can be of more value to you in your area, which you can do. The second one which I wanted to talk to you was on the PDF. I hope I am back to my PDF.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So what I have been doing is uh, start reading manuscripts and note them. That was what I was doing, but it is an irritating process. How much literature to do is the question that we often have when we do. But what happens here is there are some philosophy, the terms in philosophy, which I understood a little late. Few of those terms are put across on the screen to you. The first one is called the ontology. Whether we are doing the study, the research work, the one which I intend to do, is it objective or is it just subjective? Am I seeing the other person's life isolated from my life, or I am also a part of his life? That is what it is talking to you about, the nature of reality. And why I'm talking to you is these few things can actually bring a lot of clarity to your work. Is it because someone's life is seen by you, something like this, standing outside, or you're part of his life? That is what it means. Then you have got epistemology, which talks to you about a positivist, interpretivist realism, or pragmatism approaches to the research. All these actually have got different ways and methods through which they are measured. I'm going to talk to you about that once I brief you this. What are the values that you bring in your domain, or what ethics do you follow in the way you work, in the way you wanted to portray yourself as an author to the external audience? that is axiology. And the last one, though there have been so many theories, those theories make sense today, or what is happening today around us? Is there any valid theory which can explain this phenomenon to us today? That is phenomenology. I wasn't aware of all these four altogether. But one important learning was this, which is called the Saunders onion, which gives you the entire gamut of the whole philosophy of research. So I started here. I thought data analysis is the important part. I started learning econometrics. I started learning SPSS. I started learning AMOS. But after learning all these things, then when I come out to try to understand it from outside, then my entire time has got wasted here. Eventually, when you come from outside, it looks like an onion's layers. So the outer layer talks to you about whether you are looking at a positivist philosophy, or you are looking at interpretivism, trying to understand the current problem and trying to fix a solution to it. And this approaches actually leads, these four philosophies leads to your approaches, which I talk to you as inductive and deductive. And if you are following deductive, then how are you going to do it? Whether you are going to conduct an experiment or survey or case study, or you are going to do an action research. These are all the strategies of approaching towards the inner layer. Then you got the three methods: mono method, mixed method, and multi method. Then you've got the horizon, whether you're going to measure it today, cross section, or you're going to take it backdated, longitudinal. And depending upon all these things, what will decide is your data analysis part. If you come from here like the way I have traveled, then actually speaking, you will learn a lot. And one day you will be at the other side of the screen and you will be giving lecture to others as to what mistakes you did in research and how you have gained knowledge through the research process. So this is Saunders Onion, very nice book and a beautiful book. I'm going to give you the name of the book as well. And these are books for foundation. Though your foundation is set, but people look at you through your manuscript. So I have put here effective writing, because you need to improve upon how do you put your ideology or idea to others. So the first one, which is Mark Saunders' book, that is the Saunders Onion book. So Research Methods for Business Students, 5th edition. That is the first one. Second, some people on the chat asked me about whether it is same for qualitative and quantitative and how was the design different. Literature review is same. Where it starts deviating is the research design part. That is the second one. Third one is about academic writing. How do you put across words? And in academic writing, the book is from Badrinarayan Shankar Pawar. And importantly, when you get started to use this academic phrase bank, that is more useful to you. I will show you a glimpse of it now. What words to use when you're doing your introduction, what words to use when you're doing your literature, what words to use when you're putting across your findings, all that is available to you in that phrase bank. Then more importantly, a few PDFs are available at AMJ Editor Series website. You can go and check that. It is actually called AMJ Editor Series, and integrating theories. How do you combine theories for your research? Very nice read. And fifth point was about avoiding type 3 errors. That means just because I have got some data, I try to do something, juggle around, give it to the software, and software will give me some output. Basically, it is called HARP. HARP is nothing but hypothesis after doing research. HARP. So do not get into it. You need to frame the research question when you are doing the hypothesis, when you are doing the literature. The whole purpose of literature is to take you to the hypothesis. I'm going to talk to you a simple example on that now. And all these that I have learned so many days, actually it originated in 2012. And there are a couple of people whom I have been following for say years now. And they have been my mentors in the understanding of what I have been doing. I put a few of them here. In case you wanted to learn from them, then you can reach the guru much faster. Okay. So then last word, we are going to get started with our examples now. So any questions, you can as well talk to me or put it into the chat. It is going to be an interactive session. Before that, final word to all participants. Thank you for your patient listening. Hope you get much more clarity from this discussion. At least I hope your time was usefully spent in knowing the process of literature. I was one who was interested at least one good literature webinar or workshop. This is one fine day when I am on the other side of the table giving lecture about literature to others. And I thank Sneha madam for all that efforts that she had put, particularly the IQAC cell from Vimla College, for organizing it and making it a good overall session. So I'm just stopping my presentation. The slide content, everything will be shared to you. Do not worry. Give me some time. By afternoon, I can, send it to the organizers. And I wanted to talk to you about something, and you can actually start putting your chats. There's just 3 minutes more. And I'm going to show you about academic phrase bank because that is important to you when you start writing your research. Any questions till now?
Sir, there were two questions earlier when you were speaking, and one is, which referencing software do you suggest?
One is easy to use is Mendeley. You have got software. I mean, you go to Mendeley website, there are videos available to you. You can use those videos to get started with Mendeley. That's an easy one to use.
And also, I think Savita ma'am has raised another question too. How to find to specific review to topic? There's a little. I think Savita ma'am, could you be a little more clear about your question? How to find specific review to topic?
Is it necessary to formulate hypothesis, or we can go for objective of the research? Shifa, I read your question, but it is important to formulate hypothesis. I thought I will share you one paper on that. Just give me a minute. First, I will talk to you about the academic phrase bank, which you can use for your research. And then we can talk about the next part, which is just your question. So I'm attaching this PDF along with my mail, but I just want to show you how it looks like. So are you able to PDF?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is one PDF, which is Academic Phrase Bank by John Morley. It is there, 73 pages, but I'm just going to highlight you one section. So this section talks to you about how do you put across your context. Actually, I wanted to zoom in, but just a second. Control plus will do that job. Okay, so here I'm just briefing you about how do you write an introduction, how do you establish the context, what standard definitions you can use. X is a fundamental property of, X is becoming fast, X is a fast becoming a key instrument in, X is leading cause of death. How do you establish that context? How do you write introduction? How do you write importance of the topic? How do you write synopsis? How do you highlight a problem? One part which I wanted to talk to you, Sneha madam, before I could continue, can I take 1 or 2 minutes extra? Actually, not
Yes,
one,
sir.
5 minutes extra.
Maya, is it okay, Maya?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Perfectly all
Okay,
right.
okay, sir. No problem.
So first is I want to talk to you about the introduction part, and see here. I don't know whether I can zoom this or not. Again, 1 second. I will stop sharing first and then zoom that, so it will be proper after that. Just a second. Establishing context is what is more important. That is what I wanted to brief you about. How do you establish the context? How do you create that reviewer who is reading? How do you create that interest in the reviewer? That is the part which I wanted to talk to you here. Just a second, I'm sharing my content. Yeah, are you able to see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can. And it's clear.
Yeah, it's talking to you. It's talking to you about psychological foundations of financial planning for retirement. If you can see here the context, how they have grabbed it. I'm just reading it fast along with you so that you can note down. In the past 2 decades, significant strides have been made to ensure older Americans are able to maintain their financial independence after leaving the workforce. That means after retiring, they are able to maintain their financial. That is the story. In fact, effective poverty rate among individuals over age of 65 has dropped. Poverty rate has dropped from 20 to 15%. Despite the positive economic trend, an alarming large segment of retirees still have incomes that fall below the poverty threshold. So there are few authors. Someone was asking me about how do you cite them, them paragraph. First author, second author, third author. No chronological order. As you read, you will also notice all this in your manuscripts. I'm reading the next line. Many retirees who find themselves in dire financial straits would have set aside savings while still employed. That means when they were employed, they must have set aside some money as savings for retirement. But they did not. They did not do it. That is what the author is trying to highlight. For them, the only option are to seek financial support from family or friends, or continue to work well beyond the traditional retirement age to make in order to make ends meet. In contrast, some have amassed a considerable retirement nest egg only to see its value slowly eroded by inflationary forces or altogether decimated by healthcare cost, which no one estimated that it will be so much, incurred after having left the workforce. That is post-retirement healthcare cost. There are still others who have established a continuous pattern of savings during their working years that will be sufficient to ensure adequate stream of retirement income. Now comes the point. This was the introduction part. The question asked now, which you are able to see here, why is it that so many Indians fail to make financial preparations for retire? Now, answering that question, what are the psychological characteristics that distinguish from people who save and people who do not save? So, this background setting is important for you to hook the reader or the reviewer to put in his interest to your studies. So, you have to learn this, and this comes only when you are starting to read. And this is, by the way, a paper from Springer. You are able to see here. That is what I said. What you read, you have to be choosy in what you read. And with this, I'm just stopping. Actually, I had a lot of other examples I put in here. Some of my works on longevity, which you can see here in the. This was about how India is growing, whether India's growth rate is getting translated to savings, and whether that savings is matching up with the global trends or not. So this was my work relating to this. This was published in EPDC journal. And in case one is interested or who is into this domain, you can contact me personally. I can tell you that story. Always focus on the story. That is more important. And one more last piece of story that I wanted to talk to you about this paper of mine, which is again VDC, which is in International Journal of Performance Management. We are talking about FDI policy that India has implemented and whether attracting more FDI will help contain foreign exchange. Today we are sitting at $1 is equal to 75. And if more money is coming into India, that means rupee should come, or we could say that rupee should appreciate to 74 or 73. So this is one. But if I'm talking about FDI policy, the question now comes, what is so much important in this study? Then this study, actually, I talked about 6 different sectors where FDI was opened, number one. And after opening that particular sector, the money that is coming from foreign countries will obviously expect the profits to be generated so that they can take back. Now, whether that sector has been growing and whether that sector has contributed to generating profit, and whether we can concentrate on only those sectors which are profit making and open up those policies or those FDI limits in those particular sectors where profit is made, so that we can contain or we can control foreign exchange through that. So that is what was the speciality of this. Ideas can come anytime. That's why I say whenever you are reading, make sure you are making it or noting your point to your paper, and then you can go back. When you go back, you will really get a lot of work which you can establish in your field and take it forward. So with this, I'm stopping my conversation. I still exceeded 1 more minute, a total of 6 minutes till now, and I'm stopping it here. Thanks. Thanks for it. Thanks for the patience listening. And in case you have anything, you can write back to me. I have shared you my email ID. And if we can work together, then I will be more happy because I have more power to go a little more further. Yeah, I'm sharing the slides. Someone is asking. I will share you the slides as well as the academic phrase bank, because it will take time for you to search them if you're doing it all alone. Thank you. Yeah, madam, I'm over and you can take it forward from.
All right. Sneha ma'am, Vimla ma'am, do we have anything else, or shall we wind up the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. We can wind
All
up.
right, ma'am. So we've been with Tilak sir for 1.5 hours now, and like Tilak sir said, he's very particular about the time, and he said I've taken a few more minutes, but sir, for all of us who have been a part of this session, it has been time well spent. Of course, on behalf of the entire Vimla fraternity and the participants of Explorigate Research Webinar Series, may I place on record our deep sense of appreciation to Mr. Tilak Venkateshan. Sir, your session has not only given us academic enrichment, it has also shown us in many ways how to be a good researcher, and to the extent of showing us how to be a very humble and down-to-earth resource person as well. Special thank you for your method of presentation, and of course, great appreciation for the structuring of your presentation. It was a truly engaging session. It was very easy to follow, and all the participants were also given much respect and space to voice out their questions. I think we have learned much more than what the title promised, and we are all very grateful for that. Also, Tilak sir, since I would like to particularly appreciate the fact that you taught us through anecdotes. You told us about your steps, your journey, and I believe that has greatly helped us. So once again, on behalf of the entire Vimla fraternity and the participants, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir. It has been wonderful to have you as a resource person with us. Thank you, and all the very best in all your future endeavors. We can see very clearly that you have, you will definitely be having a beautiful journey ahead. So thank you, and all the best, sir. Appreciation is also due to our respected principal, an academician and a highly respected scholar herself, who has always set an example before us whom we that can be emulated. So thank you to Dr. Sister Beena Jose, Principal, Vimla College. Appreciation and of course our most loving thanks to our dear IQAC coordinator, Dr. Minimol K, who has been a huge pillar of support, who is our go-to person when it comes to any venture that IQAC initiates, the IQAC co-committee members, and of course the research and consultancy team has been with us in this journey. Thank you to them, and dear participants. It has been lovely to host an event for all of you. You have been very supportive, and it is your enthusiasm that has been contagious throughout the journey of Explorigate. So thank you one and all, and huge congratulations to Dr. Vimla and the team behind the Department of Economics. This has been a fruitful session, so all the best to the department as well. We're getting a lot of questions. They seem to want to know, and sir's email ID and contact number and the presentation. I don't think any vote of thanks will be above the appreciation that is there in the chat boxes. I think that makes it very clear. Thank you one and all for being a part of this journey, and all the very best.